Ducky nurse?
Yes. Yeah, she still works there.
She was in the same class as my sister.
Oh, was she?
Ducky.
Yeah, the quiet ones are always the worst, aren't they? I could do a notice. Shall I do a notice? Yes, the quiet ones. Got a dish today.
There isn't aircon, that's a heater. What? I can tell you. It's not aircon, is it? Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's better.
Well, let's just open the windows and use nature.
Let them clean it out.
So we can see how you arrange yourselves. Yeah, it looks like COVID going through the village.
So we'll come back to that. Quite a few,
Oh, is that?
all our drivers.
Creates a bit of a problem.
20 drivers and we're down to 4.
I thought they just lost it, or they've just taken both.
Let's move the camera into the recording area.
Yeah.
Put the recording there. You
Just there, please. I said it was just here. So it was this side of the thing. Thank you.
From that position, I can't see the council.
Well, you can. Your camera's just there, so you can see the council.
Okay, would you stand where you'd like me to put it, please?
I certainly will.
First time my deputy, she was in
Just here.
army for 26.
Just there.
Yep, just there.
Would you put your foot on the spot?
No, I think you're just being a bit pedantic now, so I don't know you're recording me, so you're just being very silly. Just here.
We like to be
Thank
precise,
you.
don't we?
Oh, gosh. What is the meeting for?
So not here.
Yeah, I imagine it's quite frightening.
Please.
No, I mean, but the councillors are out of sight.
Oh, can we just... Do we have to do this?
We do have to do-
Every single month?
No, we have to. The councillors need to be visible.
Not
Is there a
that we
reason?
can see the councillors, but if they're going to speak, then they'll turn to face.
But if you put it here,
Thank you very much.
where shall I put it? I should put it there. Is that acceptable?
No, I just asked you to put it. Can you just move slightly to your right, please? Just to here,
To
where I asked
there?
initially. That's
Where?
fine.
There. Well, that is not fine for the camera, is it? That's not.
That's fine. Thank you very much. You see, you just moved it back.
I know, because where you demanding that I put it, the councillors aren't visible.
Sorry.
You've had that key for 4 weeks. I should take from the house sofa.
Joe, there's nothing going on.
I took it out of my because we went on holiday. Because we went to Sweden, I was like, oh, I better not take them keys with me to Sweden. She'll text me.
Right, can I just ask, you've just moved it even further forward.
Where you're asking me to put it, 3 of the councillors are invisible. If
How are
somebody
3 of
comes
the
in,
councillors invisible?
well, that chair can be moved because there are no more councillors to attend.
Would you like me a bit more forward so you can see my face more? I'm happy with that. I can see why you'd want to.
Wow.
Right, okay.
3 councillors, are
People
all
pay for
visible?
They do. It's like that room.
I would like to have a meeting so that we can have the public kept up to date.
So that.
By who?
Well, does it matter where the camera
No, I'm just going to carry on now because it's just utterly ridiculous.
is?
We'll just start the meeting for the rest of the public.
Yeah.
Everybody ready?
There
As down, looking. Thank you to everybody for attending the ordinary parish council meeting of Dunchurch Parish Council. Photographing, reporting, recording, filming or transmitting the proceedings of a meeting may occur, and therefore all persons participating in the meeting should be aware that recording, reporting or filming may take place. Members of the public attending the meeting but are not participating in the meeting who do not wish to be filmed or photographed in the meeting must state this at the start of the meeting. If members of the public do not wish to be filmed or recorded, they must sit in a designated area away from the recording equipment. Public participation session. This is from now, from 7 p.m. to 7:15 p.m. Members of the public are invited to give their views on items on this agenda, including planning applications, or raise issues for consideration at the discretion of the chair. No decisions will be made in this part of the meeting. The public participation session is a general forum for open discussion, after which members of the public will have no further opportunity to speak unless invited to do so by the chair. This is strictly limited to 3 minutes per resident. Total time allowed will be up to 15 minutes. Do any members of the public have anything they wish to say in this part of the meeting?
Yeah. I mentioned in April about the cast iron bench on the Heath needing attention. Disappointed it's not made it to the agenda, but I feel it needs seen to. The one by the horse field opposite the elms is in pretty disgusting state, might be unsafe. The one on the Toft Lane corner, it's not been looked at since it was put in. So now the one by the church square has now been totally rebuilt twice in 3 years. So that's good going for one, but the rest of them could do with some attention.
Right, so there's a cast iron bench on the Heath. So what do you want us to do?
On the grass heath that needs looking at, not the heath as in the street.
Oh, okay. So the grass Heath.
Yeah, where the beacon is.
Okay. And are you saying that needs attention?
I detailed all of this in April.
I'm sorry?
I detailed all of this in April.
Maybe can't we just have a review of all the benches around the village?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Because clearly, I appreciate the one on Memorial Green has been done twice in 3 years, but obviously it wasn't done to a high enough standard 3 years ago, because it was completely dilapidated. So perhaps we need to look at all of them.
Okay, so you don't want to do that.
Well, it's
No,
part of
just
asset
do all the
management.
benches.
Is that what it says?
Someone just needs
There's
to
one there.
check it out.
Yeah, just need to go to.
Are there anyone near handyman doing?
Do they all belong to the parish rather than his private use? Just out of interest.
I don't know, that we'd be able to look at the register.
Yeah.
Do you know, Paul, are they all parish rather than private?
Yeah, thank you.
One more
Yeah.
thing. The one green one that's on the rugby end, that was given to the parish council in memory of the Root family, like the Roots in the village. The other two are borough council.
Borough council.
And the one, not now, I'll tell you later. Right, the other thing is public realm improvements that were done under the Ashbourne Road development. I'm surprised that hanging basket brackets and cycle rack and improvements to the bus stop are not coming out of that, because it was all mentioned when the planning application went to appeal. So
I can respond to what they have. They've been allocated against 106 monies.
we have.
Yes.
Okay.
So there's no mention of that in here. I mean, the council's paying the bill for something.
Well, we've had the monies in from the 106. So the money's sitting in our bank account and therefore we're using it to make the improvements.
When we
to the centre.
approved the bush shelter cost, I think we mentioned that.
There's nothing to do with the bush shelter. This was bush shelter separate from.
I thought you just mentioned the bush shelter. Sorry.
No, there was a
Okay.
talk of a bush shelter improvement on the square by the War Memorial, opposite the Green Man. Another public.
What?
realm.
Just the public? Just the lay-by?
Well, that's where the bush stop is. Yeah.
It's not a bush shelter though. It's not there. So there's not another
There's
one
no
that's
bush
been
shelter, I
missed.
said bus stop.
So it's between a bus stop or a bus shelter, Paul?
But just to clarify, Paul, there are social works in the village. There's money's being spent by being allocated to 106 monies.
But everything to do with the money from the actual road development has been handled by the West County Council.
I disagree with that because we had the money paid directly to us from 106 monies.
It came
Oh,
via
okay,
what?
that's-
That's 3 minutes.
Yeah.
So okay,
For
thank you.
spending
That's
on what in particular?
Well, if you go to the planning applications, it'll schedule there are services for youth services, improvement to the library and for public realm. We've had 3 different 106 monies allocated, paid over to us in the last 12 months.
Okay, sorry.
So in the last 12
Councillor Marsh,
months,
that's
when I asked for
3 minutes.
information
Thank you.
106 agreement, it's been...
Thank
Okay,
you.
right, so...
Okay, so moving on to the agenda, item number 1, election of chairman and to receive chairman's declaration acceptance of office if appropriate. I'm willing to stand again.
I'd like to nominate Tracey.
I'll second that. Well, you can second it.
Thank you. Unanimous, none of us are even going to offer. Like, please run. I can sign them in a paper, thank you. Today is the... Oh my gosh. Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much, everybody. I should do that.
Thank you for a sterling job the last 12 months.
Okay, moving on to item number 2, to receive apologies.
We've apologies from Councillor Joan G. Russell, and the rest of you are all here.
Oh, right, yeah. Gosh.
So I'm assuming that the...
I'm going to put that, yeah, that I accept that apology. Thank you. So item number 3, moving on to declarations of interest and dispensations.
I'll just go around the table, so if we start off with you, Karen. Okay, Gary.
Two for me.
Yep.
Dunchurch Park Hotel, Dunchurch Sports Field, I'm a trustee there.
Thank you.
Oh, no.
No.
In.
No.
No.
I'm with you.
Yeah, item 14. Dunchurch Sports Field.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think Peter might turn up,
Okay.
but it's not here yet.
Okay, so could we just defer until
Yeah.
through the meeting?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. So moving on to item number 5. I wasn't here, so it's to approve the minutes of the meeting from last month and the annual meeting.
Yeah, you read through them.
I read through them, yes.
So have I got a proposer and a seconder?
Quite happy to try.
Thank you. Seconded?
Second.
Unanimous?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. And it's just to note the annual parish council meeting as well.
That's for next year.
Wants a copy?
Thank you. Thank you very much. So item number 6, clerk's report.
Right, okay, so we had an email that I circulated to you all from Zoe Masterman, who's the bin said the bin lady at Rugby Borough Council. She looks after the bins, and I think Paul was the only one that responded with a particular type of bin. And I'm happy to show you that he suggested. There we go. The Steel Derby Slim Litter Bin, 260 quid. So 8 times 260 quid is 2,080. Do you want to go for all of them together as a job lot? I did ask Zoe if there was going to be a bit of a discount. She said she'd do what she could.
Because all of them have to replace in the near term anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a health and safety issue, isn't there, with the
Well,
collectors?
Yeah,
Yes.
So
absolutely.
I think we should get them done as soon as we can.
And Zoe, very helpfully, has actually sent me a map of where all the dog bins and all of the litter bins are.
Good, because that saves you driving around them all. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
I am sorry,
I have been round about 15 streets.
There was one point I mentioned about, I think the picture only showed it as a litter bin, and we need some signs.
We need the
on.
stick. I've still got some stickers.
They're all dual now though.
Yes,
They don't
but
say.
the sign is only
That is
on the
true.
picture.
Yeah,
is
That
only
is
litter.
absolutely true.
I do still have a few left,
I'm sure.
so
Yes.
I can go out stickering.
So what I'm going to do is send an email round. So if 4 of you could, not you Paul because you've already done, but if you can just agree
Yeah.
I think I've done it today.
Oh,
I think I've done it today. Do you want that back or can I have that, please? Thanks, ever so much.
special thanks. So, next one, Mike Judge and the Oak Line. So my wording was enhancing the beauty and character of Dunchurch, whilst also providing a significant contribution to improving our ecology. The Dunchurch Oak Line will prove to be an iconic feature in the village profile for many years and generations to come. Are you all happy with that?
Happy as a cat.
Yeah, look, let's have
Okay. Well, that's a tick. Me.
That's gone.
There's a plaque on each of the trees.
all of the-
All with different words.
Oh, haven't they?
Well, to that,
Yeah,
to that organisation.
Right. I've been in correspondence with the clerk for Coulston, and she has highlighted that there's a bit of an issue with the Fernwood playing field, and she sent pictures and what have you. And I think the most concerning is the fact that you can actually see there's a hill and it's not fenced off properly. So she's dealing with that, and I said that we would lend our impetus to it as well.
Yeah.
It was just really to highlight. Apparently Paul has said as well.
I used it in my planting
Oh, did you?
last week, yeah. Yeah.
I've still not been to it.
Yeah.
Because
One
there's a
of
gap.
running the end of Corston Lane.
Yeah.
Corston Lane, Conty Road, it's the wooden one on the
Yeah, the new
corner.
one.
On the corner. Yeah.
It's a good park.
I did.
I've still not
I
been to
thought
it
it
because
was
Harry was
looking-
just going.
Most unloved. So,
But apparently
Well,
the
I
pins
was,
are overflowing and
Yeah.
the grass hasn't been cut. And guess what? It hasn't been adopted
yeah, I
yet.
saw you.
And so it's still Bellway's
Yes.
responsibility.
So that course on Dunchurch,
Well, that's the thing.
Dunchurch.
It might, yes.
No, it is.
It's
It's
just
Dunchurch.
church,
Dunchurch.
yeah.
Because it's this side of Conty Road.
Yeah.
So the other side of Conty Road is Corston.
So I'm not really sure why Coulston have got involved.
Because they probably don't realise it's ours, yeah.
I'd imagine a number of people that estate identify themselves as Corstonians as opposed to Dunchurch.
Because apparently there were a whole load of residents who did use the play area that started banging on the councillors who lives opposite the play area, banging on the door.
Don't tell my where I live.
Tell them it's Corston. Okay, so we need to get on to Bellway.
Yes,
Okay.
that's pretty much. So it's
Just
just
on that, if they're, so when we come to the levy fees that come into the various council, various houses that come into our
precepts.
The precepts, does that pick up all their postcodes?
Yes, it does. Which is why we saw an increase for the last 2 years.
Oh,
in
okay.
houses taken into Dunchurch.
Yeah.
That must also mean that we're responsible for the maintenance of that park and
Ultimately,
safety check.
Not yet.
Ultimately.
Because it's not ours at the minute.
When it
When
is,
it is, it'll be ours,
okay.
yeah.
But part of the challenge we've got as parish council is how we engage with that part of the community who's kind of slightly outside the village. One of the proposals we have is another village notice board
Yeah.
or parish.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So,
It would be, yeah.
Do they have, I wonder, their own little Facebook page? Their own little Facebook group within that
Maybe.
bit that we could kind of pop on and say, did you know?
Well, more, are they aware they're
Yeah.
going to Dunchurch Parish
Yes.
Council rather than Course?
The thing is, it's
Yeah.
whether or not they know what that means, because a lot of people don't, it's just they don't really get what the different parish councils are responsible for,
The-
are they?
The FODs increased the number of quarterly booklets, magazines, they're all now posted through.
That don't mean that they recognise
No,
that
I-
they're Dunchurch, that just might mean they think get more leaflets.
That is true.
No council, community charges, Dunchurch.
If they look at their council tax billing,
And they use the facility, as in like we've had messages from people who want to use the village hall, because they get a discount for being a Dunchurch resident. But that's only the few,
Yeah.
it's a minority, so we do need to recruit from there.
Also, would anybody have any objections if the Dunchurch Voices put their wheelbarrow outside the library?
No, not tripping anyone, like they did last year. The same
No,
spot
no.
last year, that's
Not
Okay.
health and safety
I mean-
council, fine.
Sue Prothero has just asked, so I said, I didn't think there would be a
Oh,
problem.
was that ours?
That was ours.
Oh, that was ours.
It's on the allotment, ready to.
Oh, no, that's ours. That's ours place.
But
They'll have to
I
get
mean,
next to each
there's
other.
more wheelbarrows this year, so
Okay,
having two won't matter.
so we, because it's quite a long space, isn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, next to ours. Thank you.
They all want to plant on my shop.
And I think that's it from me for the time being. Okay, over to you.
Okay, thank you. Item number 7.
I did send this through to you very late. So the NDP, I've started working on the NDP again. I've got permission from Fodge to use information from their website on the history of Dunchurch to use in the as part of the introduction. Homes England held a second consultation for the Homestead Link Road on the 21st of May. We haven't received anything yet about the questions and so on that were asked for that. And so far we've not received a planning application for that link road yet either, although one is expected. As I say, I've started work again on the NDP, and a draft of what I've done will be out shortly.
Okay, thank you. Cool. Moving on
Okay.
to item number 8, planning. Or application
Yep.
received.
So the applications that we received are on the agenda. We did respond to the Dunchurch Park Hotel one. Jill put an excellent letter together based on our views on it.
No, I need to be, I have to.
No. Well, we finished before you go.
I was going to say no decisions.
Well, the response is public anyway.
Yeah.
So we haven't. It hasn't yet come to the plan committee.
Not as far as I know.
No. It's been called. Yes, the consultation phase is over.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Moving on to item number 9, the report request for FOI, for information and FOI request.
So we have had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 FOI requests since the last meeting from one parishioner. One on the 17th, a request to provide the draft minutes of the Dunchurch annual PC meeting held on the 9th of May. One on the 18th of May, asking me to provide the link to the above meeting, which have been uploaded onto the DPC website anyway. Another one on the 18th of May, a request to carry out an internal review of the response to the FOI request as the numbering of the draft minutes were incorrect and did not correspond with the AGAR. Response by Councillor Marsh on the 19th of May, requesting further information as the DPC did not understand the point the parishioner was making. Again on the 19th of May, Councillor Marsh responded to the internal review request, providing additional information. And one on the 23rd of May, Councillor Marsh responding to the internal review request.
May what year? This year. This year.
Oh yeah,
That's
that's
nice,
nice.
mate.
6 in 1, thank you. And the dual one. Dual. Stereo.
Yeah, we've got double videos today.
We are lucky.
We are.
Thank you, Jill. So moving on to item number 10, to discuss the protection of the Lord John's statue and engage a registered conservator for the Keep to Cleveland Monument. An update.
Right, well, believe it or not, we actually managed to get a third quote in today, but he asked whether I'd like a desktop quote, and I thought, well, it was going to be better than nothing. This guy was a Philip Lyde from Mossford's, and his quote was for £3,145, excluding VAT. You'll remember the Bowden and Ward one that I sent round initially, that was £2,525, excluding VAT. And NPAC, just forgotten the name, I've got NPAC. It is, and Power and Sons. That's for £3,650, excluding VAT. So two are fairly similar, but the Bowden and Ward one is obviously.
Yeah.
Well, I think that the actual overall cost is fairly similar. I'm not sure that
Are they all right for like?
the actual work is the same. I think we need to do an analysis of that.
That's what we need to do with Bowden's, wasn't it? We were going to do that with Bowden's, just to double check what
Okay.
they're cleaning.
Well.
Yeah, I'm sure one of the quotes had a repair and re-letter the.
Yeah, no, I've actually, it was the M. Power and Sons that had all of it together,
Yeah.
and I've just taken out the cleaning bit.
Oh,
which is
okay, so,
3,600.
Oh, right.
So they're
Oh,
all
right, okay.
like for
Oh,
like.
fine.
But
No, that's fine. That's
so they're now like for like quotes.
they are
on
right.
that
fine.
one then.
Yeah.
So we're looking to approve one.
Yeah.
So we're looking to approve one tonight.
I mean, it's taken a while.
Yeah, that's taken quite, we've done a lot of work to try and get these, to get the quotes, that's the thing in all fairness.
I think Carla will understand. it.
Don't you think
Well,
we talked about getting close.
okay, fine. So, I mean, I've circulated all of the information to you all from Philip Blythe today, Bowden and Ward and Empower and Sons.
If they're all like for like, I'm happy to go with Bowden Ward.
I mean, they're,
If they're all like, there's no difference on that.
no,
And they're qualified.
They're qualified,
to do
yeah,
so,
they've got all
aren't
their stamps and,
yeah. And they're actually on a master crafters
Yeah.
website as well. And they were suggested by a conservative.
yes,
Conflict, I can't remember.
yeah,
Conservative.
conservative.
Yeah.
And they're relatively low.
And they responded first. They
They
want
did.
to actually do that, yeah. Yeah.
They were
I'm going
really
to
good.
propose Bowden and Ward.
I'm happy with that.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, me.
So, are you seconding Harry?
Second.
Yeah. So that's unanimous. Brilliant.
Thank you
So
so
we
much.
can get on with it.
It's not taking that long, is it?
It's only takes 6 months.
Get there in
Just
the
for
end.
that. There we go. Okay.
Okay, moving on to item 11 to discuss the purchase of a new RFID machine.
No specific update on that. Kind of related to it, we've asked the volunteers their opinions through a questionnaire about the library and its assets and what improvements they might like to make. So from that, which I just received today, from that we'll make some analysis of the importance of the RFID machine in relation to other potential improvements we might make.
Okay, brilliant, thank you. It's important they're on board, isn't it? So that's good to
And
have
they're
those
going to
back in.
remove the RFID at the end of June.
What do you think so far?
There we go. I mean, I had to try and sweet talk them, but
Yes, yeah. Okay, thank you. Anything else? No, RFID finished. Moving on to item 12, to appoint the portfolio holder for social media.
What relies on me?
I propose Councillor Martin.
that is a funny thing, isn't it?
Seconded.
There we go.
Unanimous.
Unanimous. We'll have a vote, unanimous.
Okay.
Thank you.
Fabulous, thank you.
Oh, I'm back on the stage. Item
Oh, back on the
13.
blooming park. So I had a final meeting planned with the company that were doing us the amazing thing with the big thing, and then she got COVID. So I've got a Teams meeting with her now next week for her to show me visually via Teams what her plan is and what to get the final thing. I don't want to do quotes via email because they're salespeople, aren't they? So they
Yeah.
like to suck you in. You can't just go, I was like, just send me a bit of paper. Just send it to me and then we can just, no, we're going to meet for. They're just salespeople.
Because you've got a little bit of space left there, so what you could do with that bit of space,
Yeah,
we could
yeah,
possibly
they're
do
huge,
that.
and I understand that the people that come out are on commission, so. Then the third person, they just never ever got back to me. Andy Latham, the man that you emailed out of the blue the other day and was like, this guy's been in touch, just
Yeah.
randomly.
Yeah.
I'm meeting with him next week.
Oh.
So,
I
yeah.
couldn't believe
I
it.
know, you were
I
like,
thought-
because I literally got to the point, I was like, I don't know who else to phone and ask, I'm going to end up just having to build something myself. Like, there's only 2 people now so far that have got the quotes and the others have just messed us around. And then, yeah, this guy emailed Jill, just obviously just scouting for a bit of work, and
Perfect.
a company that had been used in the past. So, yeah, he emailed me straight back. So hopefully, we might be getting somewhere, but, you know,
Fingers crossed.
I say don't quote me on it, but you do every time.
Every time. Every time. Thank you. So, moving on to item number 14. This is to discuss and if appropriate approve the community grant for Dunchurch, Sportsfield and Village Hall.
So can Gary and Paul leave the room? Should we go tonight?
Okay.
When she come back though?
You're going to tell us.
Could you guide?
You'll listen at the door.
Shred that now. Hang on. Okay, so this is the community grant application from Dunchurch, Sportsfield and Village Hall. Everyone has seen this document that's been submitted in. Obviously, all of their funds have been appropriated on there. So this is the grant of maximum of £5,000 for the refurbishment of the car park. So that the pre-COVID levels, the village hall is now going back into daily life, and the car park, the temporary car park, isn't big. The main car park isn't big enough for the sports field, so they're using the temporary one, which is the netting, etc., isn't appropriate anymore. The plastic grids, that's it, and it floods. It massive pools of water on there. So the grant is for the maximum of £5,000. The cost for the work, there's 3 quotes that come in. The quote that they've opted for is for £11,772. So the fund for the rest of the finance is £3,000 from Warwickshire County Council. And this will be Simon Construction, who we've used for the bus shelter on that one.
Is that to the left?
To the left,
Come in and
yeah.
it's there.
So you've got the tarmac space, which in all fairness is probably never going to be big enough for once the other buildings and once you've got sports teams on there.
Sure.
So to the left it's the big plastic
So
grid.
just trying to envisage it.
Yeah, and it was put like it with a hardcore on the top, but slowly, but surely over the years it's
Like raveling, isn't it?
yeah.
I can see why they'd want to do it, but personally, knowing how much money they make in on rentals and everything else, I personally don't.
How much they got in the bank?
Yeah,
What's the amount of money in their bank? I just think, what you're spending it on there, that's surely what you're getting your money in for. They make a lot of money there, and
Yeah.
personally I don't think we should be.
We also do make quite a hefty contribution to the mowing,
Yeah.
which we increased. That's the year before, 50%. Yeah.
I agree. The idea of the grants was to fund projects that wouldn't otherwise happen.
Yeah.
They could share £125,000 in the bank as of December 21.
Yeah.
Just a lot of money for a village hall. There's not many village halls in Rugby and Warwickshire that would have 125k just sat in their bank account.
No.
I didn't quite hear the split. Sorry, it was
So it's
they were asking for 5,000 from us.
Yeah,
3,000
3,000 from Warwickshire, and they're
So what was
proposing
the
the
other
rest
three?
themselves.
And the other 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which doesn't seem a lot for what
And from
for the reserves.
Well, unless there's, 400 reserves have been allocated elsewhere, but I don't think they have. So,
And as well, it's not like they're saying, oh, we're struggling, we've not got any bookings. Because it's like gold dust. You can never get a booking in there. You need to book a year in advance. They're always busy. It's not like they're struggling, and that's actually what's gonna help them bring more people in either. If they were saying, actually, we've got no bookings, we've really struggled, we've only got 20 grand sat in the bank, we don't know how we're going to carry on, the car park might be putting people off, then that would be different. But it's not. It's still constantly busy.
The car parks, because they're being successful.
because it's
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so it's a commercial,
It's a
it's
commercial.
commercial activity, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. So
So personally, if it's up to you, I don't approve.
Would you consider,
I wouldn't, for exactly the reason that they're acting as a commercial organisation with a significant amount of money in the bank. In my opinion.
yeah. Oh, totally agree. Totally agree. So I propose that we refuse
Yes.
the application.
I like the reject.
I'd like to reject
so,
on the grounds that
refuse. And how are you seconded?
Yeah, happy to.
Right, does everybody agree?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shall we get Johnson, Johnson.
Oh, yes.
So,
Okay, moving on to item 15, to ratify Dunchurch PC's policies, standing orders and financial regs, which have been previously circulated.
right, well, I've had a good look through the standing orders, good look through the financial regulations, and I brought paper copies of the bits that I wanted to change in red. Has anybody or everybody had a chance to look through them all?
I've seen the regs, yeah. That was really, that was a good way of doing that. It was instant, but yeah, very clever.
I would, I mean, there are certain bits that I've crossed out in red. Certainly with regard to the credit card and the debit card, I thought that was a good idea.
Yep.
So can I have a proposer and a seconder to accept the amendments, unless anybody's got one?
I propose we accept the amendments. Do we need a seconder?
I don't mind.
Yeah, have a second.
Yeah.
So is everybody happy with that?
Yes.
Thank you. So moving on to item 16, which I didn't realise till yesterday was just I was just going to update people from last month on the H-bar markings which are being done in July for Dunchurch Close.
Oh, is that why there's a...
No, that's
Is that resurfacement?
They're resurfacing the pavements on Friday.
When will the H markings be done?
The H markings will be done in July and August.
Okay.
At the moment it's July, but it'll be like the last week. It'll be done in the school holidays.
Okay,
The whole of the road is being resurfaced.
cool.
And I'd managed to negotiate it down to £188, which was agreed last month from 1,400. Yeah, just to let, and they resurfacing the road as well, which they weren't going to do. So
Did you?
yes, so that was just,
What did you do for that?
it just made very nicely. So that was just my update from last month, and then obviously I've not been here this month, so I'm sorry. The 20 miles an hour all the streets haven't been named yet.
Okay.
They will be back.
Is it worth just mentioning on 16 or wherever that the parking bays in Atkinson Avenue, the first part of those developments, the parking bays are now complete? People are still parking on the grass right next to the parking bays, but the parking bays look lovely.
They're nice and new and nobody wants to use
Yeah, they're
them.
lovely. People are still parking
Oh, it's a Morgan.
close to their house. Well, I don't think there's more parking bays, but there's plans to try and stop people from parking on the grass verges is the next step. So, trees and
Yeah. And the drop curbs being sorted, the unofficial drop
the
curbs.
official drop curbs are being done and next as well.
Okay.
Council box.
Were there any plans published for that?
Mhm.
I don't remember seeing them.
All of the residents got a letter, so this is what's going to happen. Object if you like, tell us your views, what do you think? If you don't, then we'll
Published, so we can have a look.
They're on Warwickshire
We were.
Council
Oh,
Highway.
Warwickshire.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The plan is
We
fun.
weren't
To be
told.
fair, the plan is fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
It has made a big difference. There's a lot of people parking there.
yeah, I think a few people are parking in there, but there is still. But they'll be the people that unfortunately are the ones that will end up with a big tree where their car currently is.
Yeah.
Stop them from parking there.
Is the bus stop still there in the middle of nowhere?
Yeah, the bus stop that's never ever
I
used.
thought they were taking that down. Okay. I thought that was just going to disappear in it.
It's
Somebody took the pole out.
literally like for that ghost bus.
How many parking spaces have they got there now? 8 rather than 4.
I think there's more than 8. I feel like there's 9. 8 or 9. Yeah. Just look nice and shiny.
It does looks more symmetrical.
Yeah.
As well, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does look better.
Okay, moving on to item number 18 to discuss the potential installation of bicycle racks in the square.
Yeah, so I'll cover this. So currently there's a lack of cycle racks in the middle of the village. There are some just outside the library, but they're not the best. They're the ones where you can only attach your front wheel to, which certainly I wouldn't attach my bike to one of those.
Not with quick release wheels.
So I think we've got an agreement today that we can move the planter, the big planter in the car park that's behind the lamppost, almost right opposite the cafe. That's going to be moved to the side. And actually, that becomes a dead space then. So the idea is to look at potentially putting a number of bike racks in that space, which will hopefully encourage more people to cycle rather than drive. And also bring probably cycling groups in, selfishly from my point of view, but cycling groups into the village bring more trade into the village as well, certainly for things like the cafe. So I guess on indicative price at the moment, I think it's going to be around £1,500 based on what I've seen, but all I'm looking for today is agreement that people think is a good idea, but then go away and investigate further.
Great idea. And as well, because at the moment they're just all, we've just spent a fortune getting the bus shelter.
Yeah.
And actually all you see is people pushing their bikes against the bus shelter, which I know is
I saw
not
that
a
today.
massive amount of
Yeah.
damage, short term, but, if they've got somewhere else to put it.
Yeah.
And they may also be less inclined to sit in the bike shelter, sit with the kids, and just leave all their chip wrappers and everything else laying around. So.
So we're not losing parking space,
No.
we're just
It's a dead space.
utilising
It's a
it.
dead space, yeah.
Which makes sense.
Can we just clarify though, just for the minutes, that where it says the square, it's the car park at the top of School Street, so opposite Cartering, by Cartering,
Yes.
as
And
opposed to
it's
the
literally
square.
the space where the planter, apologies.
Yeah.
It's
No,
space
it's
behind
fine,
it.
just to clarify for the minutes.
So there wouldn't be any need to talk to the cafe
No?
or any of the other shops, we can just make the decision
Yeah.
and hope it's the
I
right.
think we are to get Warwickshire County Council's permission to put it on, but I'm guessing they're not going to have a major issue, but we'll have to get that permission.
But it depends if FODS gets the grant.
Yeah, so FODS have applied for a grant for their own bike racks.
I understood that they had applied for the Warwickshire County Council councillors'
Not to
grant
us,
fund
yeah.
for bike racks in the village.
So where do they want to put theirs?
Well,
This is the same.
let me speak to I'll speak to somebody at FODS.
Okay.
It's the same racks. I think we just facilitated moving the planter,
Oh, okay.
my understanding.
Yeah.
I'll deal with
But
that.
then if that's the case, we then need to know who's going to own and is responsible for said bike racks.
Should be us.
Because the thing is, if FODS are then overseeing it and FODS are getting the grant and FODS are putting it in, let's say for whatever reason in 4 or 5 years
It's not
FODS
ours
disband,
at all, no.
we then don't have bike racks in the village because they technically can go, well, they're ours, we're getting rid of
Well,
them.
Warwickshire County Council must have the same grant stipulations or similar to what we've got, where they can't
The
dispose of
principle is though, we are Dunchurch Parish Council, FODS are a charity.
Yeah.
We own any assets in the village are ours, they're not theirs, so we need to.
But the car park isn't.
You know what, I'm not particularly precious. You know, if
No.
there's a grant that's been made available, but the idea is, if everyone agrees, I'll liaise with FODS.
Yeah.
Okay.
If it's a grant, then they must have stipulations like we do, where they have to maintain them and present for a
Okay.
number of years.
Yeah, okay. My last understanding was that we were looking into it after we'd had the
Yeah.
email. I didn't
That
realise
is
FODS had done.
absolutely true.
That's what happened, it was originally us, wasn't
In
it?
between.
Yeah.
So do we think as that resident then approached FODS because of our initial response maybe?
Peter Eccleston told me
Okay.
that apparently it's
Well, I'll liaise with FODS.
Yeah.
Fab, thank you.
Good idea.
Okay, so moving on to item 19, to note and approve the receipt of the internal audit report. Note the letter from PKF Littlejohn in respect to a parishioner's query regarding the 2019-20 external audit.
Could I just mention, there are a couple of things that have been mentioned in the internal audit report. One is about the emergency plan, and I'm working on that as we speak. And also, Trevor mentioned about Adobe Acrobat Pro, and it's just to tell you it's £15.17 per month.
Okay,
That's computer software, isn't
What's his
Yeah.
recommendation for that?
What's that for?
that we use that one.
Yeah.
That's,
Okay.
is that,
So he's saying it's about the parish website. So he says that he reviewed Dunchurch Parish Council's website, which is easy to follow, comprehensive in terms of the documents and information that it contains. The accessibility requirements cover the need for the website to be easy to navigate by all levels of understanding and capabilities, and the website does, in my opinion, meet these requirements. He said the combination of many PDF files into a consolidated file is possible by the use of Adobe Acrobat, which is available for purchase by licence at blah blah blah. And so he's basically suggesting that I amalgamate all of the agenda and all of the supporting documents into one file and then upload it to the
Yeah.
website.
And then you just add them to that file as opposed to having lots of files. Makes sense.
Makes
So-
sense.
Right, so I'm just giving the heads up because then I'll put,
I think if he's recommended it,
yeah,
then we should.
It's all in place.
Adobe, most places use Adobe. It's not like a rare thing, is it?
No.
Most companies have Adobe as a.
So if I'm
Stand
doing
by.
Well, I
public,
have
how do I
Adobe
access it? Do I just
Is
click
that
on
some
it?
way of negotiating
It's
with
just combining
what's it
PDFs.
with?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So you've already got David.
I've already got Adobe, but I haven't got Adobe Pro.
This is basically
Okay.
editable
So this-
PDFs rather
yeah.
than you just create a PDF file that's a dead file that means you can edit it.
If you'd rather save money, if you just email me the documents, I've got to do it.
Yeah.
And just email it straight back as one document.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so forget all about that then. Because it's,
No, but the recommendation is a good one.
yeah,
So you have all documents. in one.
absolutely, I understand that, but I thought it would be helpful if I got the price, but 15 quid a month.
It's a lot of money.
It's a
isn't
bit
it?
steep, especially when I'm
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
Especially if you can have it for free.
For free.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I like
Yeah,
it.
I like it.
Thank you. Discussed and sorted.
Okay, so Adobe. Okay, so I mean, you get all the documents anyway.
As long as we agree which documents are going into it, is it?
Yeah, well, all I need is the agenda and the background.
It's a 5 minute job. Yeah, it'd be a 5-hour job.
In 5 days.
That's social media manager.
I know, yeah. Something like that. I'm just going to be social. I didn't say anything about the media.
Oh. Sorry. Okay, to note the letter from PKF.
Little John, yeah,
Yes.
to a parishioner who raised queries with the 2019-2020 external audit, and you will note that I circulated the letter and was delighted with the response. But I worked quite hard with Rebecca Plain at PKF Little John.
We worked very hard with the record.
And I was very pleased to note.
It's worth noting, just for the
Can we
record,
put that
the additional cost, it's cost from,
Yeah.
excluding your time, the additional cost from the auditors was
£4,047.
Where it normally is 400.
quid. Yeah.
Wow. Is that going to be minuted?
Well,
I think
that's
it
the
should.
point of raising.
I think it should, because I think to raise just for point scoring is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it's cost the public purse a lot of money, which could have been spent on much better things for the community,
Yeah.
rather than trying to score points. And in the end, it didn't come to anything.
No, but it just
The
created
general
a lot
practice
of
is you
extra work
generally
for a lot of people.
Get a pre-quote from them before you ask them to do the work.
Yeah, but yeah.
Most, I
But
raise
you can't
something
repeat.
better.
Yeah, we can't with
You can't with the
Have to
externals.
use that.
Well, you can always ask. They can give you a price, and then you can actually say, well, hang on, that's not our budget. So I'm only saying we can't do
We
it now
can't go
because we
anywhere
want to do this, but going forward, I would always suggest you
But
get
But you can't go
We're
anywhere
tied,
else.
we can't go anywhere else.
it. Doesn't matter. You
No.
still.
Right. I understand your point, but we can't go anywhere else because that's where we're tied.
And you have to
So
pay.
you're saying that we've got to go through one set of.
Oh,
Warwickshire,
yes,
Warwickshire,
absolutely.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry.
No,
It's
internal
not like
audit.
if you and I would be contracted.
No.
No.
Internal auditors completely different. The external
Right,
is,
okay.
yeah,
We're allocated
Sorry.
PKF.
But effectively,
PKF.
we're not.
yeah.
Right.
But that's because I suspect they really had no idea it was going to be as drawn out and long
No,
as what it was.
But, you know, there were 4 pages of queries
Yeah.
by the president.
and how long has it been going back and forth as well? Because we've all dealt with it, 3 of us have dealt with, yeah.
2019.
You've done everything, and we've had,
And all for things that weren't even being raised when you were even here.
no,
Well, it's a significant amount.
None of it was even watched.
No.
we weren't here, I
Because it
wasn't
was-
here.
It was a month,
Yeah,
you know, February.
The good news is being closed down.
it has, it's been done, it's been resolved as it should have been resolved, and it just makes it where
And
we
that's
could have
full
spent
of
money
report.
elsewhere.
Is it made available to the public? Okay.
because you've got the resident's name.
Right, okay.
We could redact it.
We could.
I just think that for the, you know, we're saying to the this is how much money we're spending. Can we redact the details? If needs to get the residents' permission, we'd like to show it.
It's no longer a resident.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but we'll...
You know, or if there's an FOI suddenly comes in demanding to see it, we already know. Because actually, it'd be really good to say, do you know what, all those months and months and months of the parish council's reputation being dragged down as being not being transparent and doing dodgy stuff. Here's £4,000 worth of auditing that shows it's incorrect.
And the councillors that were there in that time, from between April 2019, during the period, to August 2019, none of us were actually even present. So it's taken a lot of Jill's time to go back through all the records. Thank you, Jill. Okay, moving on to item 20, to consider purchasing brackets for 5 lamp columns in Rugby Road at the cost of £600.
So I circulated the quote from Charles Watts. It's below £1,000, so we'd open 3, and they're £59 each. Do you want to chip in?
Yes, so so because of the I suppose debacle between David Wilson and Warwickshire County Council in not getting the hanging baskets brackets provided as part of the crossroads work, we stepped in, and there's an item in item 21 to confirm the cost of the 22 brackets that we've ordered. But the ones on Rugby Road, I think were replaced as part of the French column replacements, and they weren't included in the 11 that I commissioned. They're the only ones on Country Road, Southern Road and Dunchurch Road. The ones on Rugby Road were slightly smaller diameter lampposts, so we didn't do those. So these five lamp columns, 10 brackets, are to complete the new, to complete the hanging basket brackets on all of the new columns.
So it was these are the 5 that David Wilson Home should have provided in the first place. That's what they were providing, the ones on Rugby Road.
Well, they've not been provided.
No, but that's what it was all about initially, was the 5,
Right.
nothing to do with the others. It was the 5 on Rugby Road that the French columns they were taking out, they were supposed to be putting the brackets on those.
Right, okay. So they're the ones.
So they're the ones that they're now, yeah, just to make that clear. Yeah, so well, I think it just completes the display, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Is there any more issues though now with the water end? Because I know there's been a problem with the watering of the baskets.
No, I think Rob Collins has stepped in.
Okay. Because they're
Sorry,
all a
Facebook,
bit
they've
tired.
made something.
Yeah, I've seen that. It's right.
He didn't drill, contributed to it.
Yes.
Oh gosh. Okay. So who
The
wants to propose
hanging
that?
baskets are up
They look good.
and look good.
Yeah, they look good.
So I think to complete the village and do the Rugby Road ones.
They look, especially against the bush shelter. It's lovely, the thatch when
Yeah.
you drive down. It does
Yeah.
look. You do look lovely. Anyone wants to propose the purchase of the 5?
I'll propose the additional 5 columns.
Second.
So,
Is there any recourse to actually ask for the money back from Bright Homes or whatever?
David Wilson Homes.
No,
I don't think they have a chance.
not just a letter just saying we've spent this.
There's been emails from 2019 that have gone hundreds and hundreds and hundreds.
Yeah, okay, that was,
We've been, well, even there was one from him today, from WCC, FK. I saw one from him today. So so it's still been rumbling, but I think it was overspent, shall we say, because they're not offering any more at all.
No. So Gary, you seconded. Is that unanimous? Everybody?
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Paul. So moving on to item number 21, finance. Councillor Marsh.
Yeah, so one payment to approve. It's a retrospective approval of a payment made during May to Charles Watts for £1,298 or £1,557.60, including that. So this is, further to what Paul's just referenced, this is approved by council by email during the month and was for the supply of brackets for hanging baskets that had not been replaced when the work on the crossroads was completed. So we're looking for retrospective approval on that. Just in terms of everything else, the bank reconciliation detailing payments made during the month has been provided on the Parish Council website. The only notable payment made in there during the month was £3,800 within projects for Jubilee Beacon. And I can confirm I've checked the Co-op bank reconciliation back to the bank statement and transactions to the finance system. I've also checked the bank reconciliations for CCLA and Scottish Widows, the bank statements actually as of the end of May as well now, and skipped to the end of May. We'll come through this week. That's it for me.
Brilliant, thank
And we
you.
do need approval, which I'm happy to propose.
Thank you. Anybody else? Thank you, Gary. Unanimous, everybody?
Yeah. Anything on item 22?
As far as I'm
No,
aware.
anything in private session?
Yeah, I'd like to.
Okay.
I'm going to read the blurb.
And I can read the blurb. Under Section 1, Subsection 2 of the Public Bodies Admission to Meetings Act 1960, and in view of the confidential nature of the business about to be transacted, it was felt advisable in the public interest if members of the public were present during the consideration of such business, there would be a disclosure to them of exempt information that the public temporarily be excluded and they are instructed to withdraw. A resolution required for the meeting, at the meeting for items to be discussed in private session.
So I'm assuming that you're proposing.
Yes, both.
Okay. Happy with that second?
I second.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yes, thank you very much. Members of the public are asked to leave the meeting. Thank you for coming. The next meeting is the 11th of July.
Oops.
Got them.
Got them. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Hang on. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sounds a good plan.